Winnie the Pooh and some bees. One day, Pooh Bear was out walking and he came to an open place in the middle of the forest, and the middle of this place was a large oak tree, and from the top of the tree there came a loud buzzing noise. Winnie the Pooh sat down at the foot of the tree, put his head between his paws and began to think. First of all he said to himself, "That buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that, just buzzing, without it meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, somebody's making a buzzing noise, and the only reason for making a buzzing noise that I know of is because you're a bee." Then he thought for another long time and said, "And the only reason for being a bee that I know of is to make honey." And then he got up and said, "And the only reason for making honey is so that I can eat it." So he began to climb the tree. He climbed and he climbed and he climbed, and as he climbed he sang a little song to himself. It went like this: "Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? Buzz, 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 I wonder why he does." Then he climbed a little further and a little further, and then just a little further. By that time he had thought of another song. "It's a very funny thought that if bears were bees, they'd build their nests at the bottom of trees. And that being so, if bees were bears, we shouldn't have to climb up all these stairs." He was getting rather tired by this time, so he started to sing a complaining song. He was nearly there now. If he just stood on that branch, crack! "Oh, help!" said Pooh, as he dropped 10 feet onto the branch below him. "If only I hadn't," he said, as he bounced 20 feet onto the next branch. "You see what I meant to do," he explained as he turned head over heels and crashed onto another branch 30 feet below. "What I meant to do. Of course it was rather," he admitted, as he slithered very quickly through the next 6 branches. "It all comes, I suppose," he decided, as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun round 3 times, and flew gracefully into a gorse bush. "It all comes of liking honey so much. Oh, help!" He crawled out of the gorse bush, brushed the prickles from his nose, and began to think again. And the first person he thought of was Christopher Robin. So Winnie the Pooh went round to his friend Christopher Robin, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest. "Good morning, Christopher Robin," he said. "Good morning, Winnie the Pooh," he replied. "I wonder if you've got such a thing as a balloon about you." "A balloon?" "Yes, I was just said to myself coming along here, I wonder if Christopher Robin has such a thing as a balloon about him. I just said it to myself, thinking of balloons and wondering. What do you want a balloon for?" Winnie the Pooh looked round to see that nobody was listening. He put his paw to his mouth and said in a deep whisper, "Honey." "But you don't get honey with balloons." "I do," said Pooh. Well, it just happened that Christopher Robin had been to a party the day before at a friend Piglet's house, and he had balloons at his party. Christopher Robin had a big green one, and one of Rabbit's relations had a big blue one, but he left it behind him, being really too young to go to a party at all. So Christopher Robin brought both the green one and the blue one home with him. "Which one would you like?" Christopher Robin asked Pooh. He put his head between his paws and thought carefully. "It's like this," he said. "When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is not to let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you have a green one, they might think you are only part of the tree and not notice you. And if you have a blue one, they might think you're only part of the sky and not notice you at all. The question is, which is most likely?" "Wouldn't they notice you under the balloon?" Christopher Robin asked. "They might, or they might not," said Winnie the Pooh. "You never can tell with bees." He thought for a moment and said, "I shall try to look like a small black cloud. That will deceive them." "Then you better have a blue balloon." Christopher Robin said, and it was decided. Well, they both went with the blue balloon and took Christopher Robin's gun with them, just in case, said Winnie the Pooh. They went to a muddy place that they knew of and rolled until he was black all over. And then, when the balloon was blown up, as big, and Christopher Robin and Pooh were both holding onto the string, he let go suddenly, and Pooh Bear floated gracefully up into the sky and stayed there, level with the top of the tree, about 20 feet away from it. "Hooray!" Christopher Robin shouted. "Isn't that fine?" shouted Winnie the Pooh down to Christopher Robin. "What do I look like?" "Well, you look like a bear holding onto a balloon," Christopher Robin said. "Not," said Pooh rather anxiously, "not like a small black cloud in a blue sky?" "Not very much." "Oh well, perhaps from up here it looks different. And as I say, you never can tell with bees." There was no wind to blow him nearer to the tree, so there he stayed. He could see the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach the honey. After a little while, he called down to Christopher Robin, he said, in a loud whisper. "Hello, I think the bees suspect something." "What sort of thing?" "I don't know, but something tells me that they're suspicious." "Perhaps they think you're after their honey." "It may be that. You never can tell with bees." There was another little silence, and then he called down again. "Christopher Robin?" "Yes." "Have you an umbrella in your house?" "I think so." "I wish you'd bring it out here and walk up and down with it, and look at me every now and then and say, 'Tut, tut, it looks like rain.' I think if you did that, it would help the deception which we're practising on these bees." Well, Christopher Robin laughed to himself. Silly old bear. But he didn't say it out loud because he was fond of him. He went home to get his umbrella. "Oh, there you are," called Winnie the Pooh as soon as Christopher Robin got back to the tree. "I was beginning to get anxious. I've discovered that the bees are now definitely suspicious." "Shall I put my umbrella up?" Christopher Robin said. "Yes, but wait a moment. We must be practical. The important bee to deceive is the queen bee. Can you see which is the queen bee from down there?" "No." "A pity. Well, now, if you walk up and down with your umbrella saying, 'Tut, tut, it looks like rain,' I shall do what I can by singing a little cloud song, such as a cloud might sing. Go." So while Christopher Robin walked up and down and wondered if it was raining, Winnie the Pooh sang a cloud song. "How sweet to be a cloud, floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud, floating in the blue. It makes him very proud to be a little cloud." The bees were still buzzing, as suspiciously as ever. Some of them, indeed, left their nests and flew all round the cloud as it began the second verse of his song, and one bee sat down on the nose of the cloud for a moment and then got up again. "Christopher—" "Oh, Robin!" called out the cloud. "Yes?" "I have just been thinking, and I have come to a very important decision. These are definitely the wrong sort of bees." "Are they?" "Quite the wrong sort. So I should think that would make the wrong sort of honey, wouldn't you?" "Would they?" "Yes, so I think I should have to come down." "How are you going to do that?" Winnie the Pooh hadn't thought about this. If he let go of the string, he would fall, bump, and he didn't like that idea at all. So he thought for a long time, and then he said, "Christopher Robin, you must shoot the balloon with your gun. Have you got your gun?" "Of course I have," of course I have, Christopher Robin said. "But if I do that, it will spoil the balloon." "But if you don't," said Pooh, "I shall have to let go, and that would spoil me. What if I put it to you like this? What if I aimed very carefully at the balloon and fired?" "Ow!" said Pooh. "Did I miss?" "You didn't exactly miss," said Pooh, "but you missed the balloon." "I am so sorry," Christopher Robin said, and then he fired his gun again. This time he hit the balloon, and the air came slowly out, and Winnie the Pooh floated down to the ground. But his arms were so stiff from holding on to the string of the balloon all that time that they stayed up straight in the air for more than a week, and whenever a fly came and settled on his nose, he had to blow it off. And I think, but I'm not sure, that is why he was always called Pooh in the end.